Hi, this is Lara at Elliott Wave Gold with your daily gold analysis for the trading session dated Monday 16th of September. I'm recording this video just gone 7 in the evening New York time. At the daily chart level, my wave count remains the same, except within this new downwards movement I've moved everything up 1 degree. This has a better look in terms of target calculation and overall a better fit. I have a new target for minor wave 3 today. At 1260, it will reach 2.618, the length of minor wave 1. It's already past 1.618, the length of the first wave, so that's the next Fibonacci ratio in the sequence. And the longer term target for primary wave 5 to end, still some weeks away, at 1046, it will reach equality in length with primary wave 1. That's the most common relationship between first and fifth waves within an impulse, and that's what's unfolding to the downside for a cycle degree A wave. It's a 5-wave impulse. When we get closer towards the end of primary wave 5, I'll look at Fibonacci time relationships. It's too early to do that yet, but I will look to see if it could have a Fibonacci time relationship in terms of weeks or maybe days. And so we'll try and define a possible ending date for you, or at least which week it might end. Can't do that yet, it's a bit too early now. At this stage, we still don't have intermediate wave 1 within minor wave 5 complete. Eventually, when it's done, we'll have a second wave correction which can't move beyond the start of the first wave above 1433.83. I have 2 hourly wave counts for this one for you today. They're identical to this point here, except again everything has been moved up 1 degree on this hourly chart as well as the daily chart, obviously. So my last analysis had a third wave over here, and we were expecting a bit more upwards movement for a fourth wave. Minute wave 3 is 2.61 short of 1.618, the length of minute wave 1 for this wave count, and the ratios at minuet degree within it. Minuet wave 3 is 0.19 longer than 2.618, the length of minuet wave 1. There's nice alternation here between the second wave and this fourth wave. They're both zigzags, but the second wave is a lot deeper. It's 62% the length of the first, and within it the C wave is a lot shorter. It's 1.16 longer than 0.382, the length of the A wave. So there's a nice ratio between those there. For this fourth wave, it's the C wave which is longer and the A wave which is shorter, so there's some alternation. And the fourth wave is a much shallower correction of minute wave 3. Minute wave 4 is just 34% the length of minute wave 3. And minuet wave C within it, as I said, is $2.71 short of 1.618, the length of minuet wave A. When we draw Elliott's first channeling technique around this downwards movement, we draw the first trend line from 1 to 3, place a parallel copy on the end of 2. It nearly perfectly shows us where the fourth wave ended, just fell short of the upper edge of that channel. It's pretty typical to see the second wave early in the channel overshooting the other side of the channel, I've noticed, for gold. So that actually looks quite typical. We may see the downwards fifth wave overshoot the channel if it turns out to be strong, as sometimes that does happen for gold. The target for minor wave 3, the same as calculated on the daily chart at 1260. So far, within the final fifth wave down, we do have a completed 5-wave structure, and it is slightly lower than this point here. It is possible that minor wave 3 in its entirety is over here, but I don't think so. If it was over here, there would be no ratio with the fifth wave and either the third or the first, and minor wave 3 as well, if it's over here, would have no Fibonacci ratio to minor wave 1. The fifth wave would be remarkably short. What's more likely is, as I have it labelled here, is that we have a 5-wave impulse down for minuet wave 1. We need to see probably a bit more upwards movement yet for a little second wave correction, probably to find resistance at the upper edge of this channel or just before it again. And when that's done, we should see some increase in downwards momentum from gold as a third wave begins. Minuet wave 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 above 1335.14. If we do see price move above that point, we'll use the second wave count. And the difference in them, if you want to know, the difference in subdivisions is this little piece of movement here. For this first hourly wave count, which has a slightly higher probability, we're seeing this small upwards piece of movement as a 3-wave zigzag. And on the 5-minute chart, that really does have quite an easy fit. Kind of possible to see it as a 5, we'll consider that possibility, but it fits much easier as a 3. So the second wave count's identical to this point here, and then it may be that mini wet wave 1, instead of being over here, was over here as a 5-wave impulse down here. Mini wet 2 started here, and it's a little flat correction. It's a regular flat correction because B is over 90% the length of A, but less than 105% the length of A, but the C wave is slightly truncated, so that slightly reduces the probability of this wave count, which is another reason why it's my second less likely wave count. It sees this little piece of movement here must subdivide as a 5, and like I said, that's possible, but it's not as easy a fit as seeing it as a 3. So if we have mini wet waves 1, 2 and 3 and 4 over here, then minute wave 3 is probably over here, and we're looking for some upwards movement for a 4th wave correction at minute degree. The target would be 1339, where it's just about at the 0.382 Fibonacci ratio, slightly above the end of the 4th wave of 1 lesser degree. It should find resistance about the upper edge of this channel. Draw this 1 again using Elliott's first technique around this wave count. From the end of 1 to 3, place a copy on 2. We should see resistance at the upper edge for the 4th wave. The 5th wave may end about the lower edge or possibly overshoot if it's going to reach down to this target, depending on momentum. For this one, the invalidation point's a lot higher. If we do see price move above 1335.14, I'm not expecting much more upwards movement. This target isn't that far away from that confirmation point. But the invalidation point's further away. Minute wave 4 may not move into minute wave 1 price territory above 1359.25. Importantly, it can touch that price point. It's only movement above it, even by a fraction of a cent, which invalidates this wave count. For this one, within minute wave 3, mini wet wave 3 is just 0.53, 53 cents longer than 1.618 the length of the first wave. And minute wave 3 in its entirety has a better ratio now. It's just 72 cents short of 1.618 the length of the first wave, so the Fibonacci ratios are slightly better. There's still no ratio between this 5th wave and either the 1st or 3rd waves here though. That's okay. Usually within a 5-wave impulse for gold, we see ratios between 2 of the 3 actionary waves and not the 3rd. That's actually really common. So if we see movement above 1335.14 in the next 24 hours, look out for price to find resistance at this channel. That's how we draw it then, and here's the invalidation point. At the daily chart level, this wave count's mostly the same and still expecting downwards movement overall. It's just looking at the possibility that primary wave 4 is going to be a big flat correction taking up more time, that it wasn't over here as a single zigzag. This may have just been intermediate wave A within a flat. Within a flat, the B wave should reach at least 90% the length of the A wave, so this alternate still requires downwards movement at least to 1205.74. And when that's done, this alternate expects new highs above this point. It would be confirmed with movement above 1433.83, but primary 4 may not move into primary wave 1 price territory. It would not expect movement above 1532.90. So in my last analysis, I expected a little bit of upwards movement to 1338 before price turned around and continued downwards. It did move higher, falling $2.80 short, 86 cents short of the target, and it turned around and moved to a slight new low. I have 2 hourly wave counts for you today. They're both expecting at least a little bit more upwards movement, and then again price should turn around and move lower. That's all for me today with your gold analysis, and I hope everyone had a fabulous weekend.